Hey folks, I'm attorney Ben Schwartz, and as you may know if you've been watching my videos, I am a personal injury attorney. I practice in the states of Maryland, Delaware, DC, and I am in a law firm with other attorneys that have bar admission in other states in the Mid-Atlantic region as well. Today I'm going to answer a video. It's not state specific. That's my point in telling you this, is it's not state specific. It varies from state to state, but we're going to do a video today. We're going to answer a question from Reggie, who lives in Cecil County, Maryland. And essentially Reggie asked me, how do you come up with the value of a personal injury settlement after a car accident? And so I was giving it some thought. There's really like 10 main things that you look at. There are other things too. So if you watch this video and think to yourself, well, he's missing out on this. Yeah, I probably am. There's a lot of stuff that goes into the mix, a lot of considerations, but I just wanted to hit what I consider to be the 10 big considerations in determining the case value in a personal injury case. Number one is liability. In order to get a settlement out of the at-fault driver's insurance company, the at-fault driver has to be at fault, and preferably you're not at fault. You're you're in a position where you have zero contributory negligence in causing the accident. So basically, the more at fault the at-fault driver is, the more clear the case becomes, and presumably the higher the settlement value will be as well. Not only do I want to know what the liability is for that at-fault driver, but you also have to look at considerations like egregiousness. Are we talking about someone who, took their foot off of the brake pedal at a red light and accidentally, truly accidentally hit the bumper of the car in front of them? Are we talking about someone who's on their 7th DUI and doesn't care if they kill anyone and they're out running over school children? There's a level of egregiousness there that I think informs the decision of what the case value is. 2, the law regarding liability defenses. In some states, like Delaware, you have what's called comparative fault. The plaintiff themselves might be at fault, partially at fault, in causing the accident, and up to a certain point, that's fine. You just reduce the value of the settlement or award by their percentage of negligence. That's the law, say in Delaware. Other states have a different law. For example, in Maryland, you have what's called straight contributory negligence. If the plaintiff is found to be 1% at fault, they're barred from recovering anything. So the law of the place concerning liability and liability defenses is very important in determining the value of the settlement. 3, this may or may not be, depending on the state, but the extent of visible damage to the vehicles. In some states, you can put pictures of the damaged vehicles into evidence without anything further so that the jury can see how bad it was or how not so bad it was, so that they can infer that the injuries are terrible, or so that they can infer that the injuries are not terrible. In some states, like Delaware, you can't just put the pictures in. You can't just put video in. You have to have an expert witness who can talk about the forces upon the body caused by that much impact. And so the extent of vehicle damage may or may not be something to take into consideration depending on where you are, what state you're in, and what the law is on that topic. The type of injury. The type of injury is a huge factor in determining the settlement value. If you're talking about herniated discs in your neck that one day are going to require neck surgery, then that has one case value. If you're talking about a sprain or strain of your neck muscle that healed up after 3 weeks of physical therapy, that's got an entirely different case value. So the type of the injury has a big component, that is a big component in determining the settlement value of the case. The impact of that injury on the plaintiff's lifestyle. If you're talking about a plaintiff who lived a sedentary lifestyle, who never did anything, never had any hobbies, didn't have to stand or walk for work, they sustained a knee injury and had a meniscus tear and had surgery to repair it, that would have one impact on that person's life. If you're talking about someone who was running marathons and had a meniscus tear and had surgery to repair it, and now they can never run a marathon. Their hobby is out the window. They were running 5 days a week, but now they're not. And that has a much larger impact on their life. That will inform the case value as well. 6, past medical expenses, past wage loss. How much did the plaintiff have to spend on medical treatment, or how much did their health insurance have to spend on medical treatment? What was the amount of wages that they lost when they couldn't go to work due to their injuries? Future medical and wage loss. Is it a case where the doctor who treated the plaintiff is going to be able to testify at trial that in the future the plaintiff will need treatment or need surgery? And will the doctor be able to give you an idea of what the value, the likely value is of that future medical treatment? Are they going to come in and testify that the plaintiff is going to lose wages in the future because they're going to be unable to work due to the injury from the car accident? Some cases you have no future medical expenses and no projectable future wage loss. In some cases you've got hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars of future financial losses, and that greatly can affect the settlement value of a personal injury case. Past medical history. The plaintiff's past medical history is important in determining the value of a personal injury case. And the reason it's important is because in many cases there's a question as to whether the accident caused the injury. You'll see cases where there's a disc herniation in the lumbar spine, but the plaintiff is 65 years old and they had a disc herniation at that level of the lumbar spine before the accident. But now, after the accident, they need surgery. Well, then the question becomes, is the surgery truly due to the trauma from the accident, or would they have needed that surgery anyways? So the past medical history comes into play. If the past medical history is the plaintiff is 18 years old and has a disc herniation from a car accident, it's hard to say, well, it was there before the car accident. They're only 18 years old. 18-year-olds don't have disc herniations in absence of some trauma in most cases. Plaintiff's presentation. When the plaintiff gives a deposition, do they come across as being credible? Do they come across as being likable? Is this someone a jury and a judge is going to like? Or is this someone that can't answer a question, doesn't seem to be credible, seems like they're making it up, seems like they are defensive, they have something to hide? That goes into the mix in determining what the settlement value is. Finally, jurisdiction. I put it 10th on the list, but the truth of the matter is it probably ought to be a lot higher on the list if we were looking at order of importance. You have jurisdictions where the awards at trial tend to be very low. Juries don't give out money to injured plaintiffs in personal injury cases. You have jurisdictions where it seems like they give out a lot of money to injured plaintiffs. So depending on where the accident happened, depending on where you're bringing that lawsuit, will make a large difference in the settlement value of that personal injury case. Now, folks, like I said, I realize I only put 10 things on the board. There's probably 150 things that go into the evaluation of the value, the settlement value of the case. And I'm sure I'm missing some things. Feel free to leave a comment on this video if you have something that comes to mind that you think is important in determining the value of a personal injury case. If you have a question, send me an email. My email address is ben.schwartz at schwartzandschwartz.com. Thanks for watching.